3 things that shocked me about the US. Really interested to see like the 3 top things that shocked her, see what they're about and see what we got.
This was me when I headed to the US for my exchange semester in 2016, thinking that I was pretty educated about the US.
Right.
Hi, how are you? Oh, I'm doing fantastic. How was your weekend? Don't talk politics. Don't talk politics. Don't talk politics.
Don't talk
Versus
politics.
me after I got there.
Is that what it's actually going to be like when I go to the US? Is this what it's going to be like? I'm just going to be shocked.
Hallo, servus, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Feli. I'm originally from Munich, Germany, but I've been living here in Cincinnati, Ohio, on and off since 2016. First of all, thank you guys so much for the amazing feedback on my last video, which was a comedy skit about how German sounds compared to other languages from a German perspective.
Cool.
For those of you who just recently started following this channel, I actually did a reaction video a few months ago about the viral videos by the Copycat channel, where German is portrayed as this harsh and aggressive language. And as part of that, I came up with the idea to kind of do a response video.
You know what? I actually love the German like accent and stuff and the language. I love learning it in school. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it does sound quite aggressive.
With some more pleasant sounding German
Das ist gut. Das ist wunderbar.
words,
You know what I mean?
and actually make German the pretty language for once.
Okay.
And you guys liked the idea and left a lot of comments with suggestions for beautiful German words.
Das
And
ist
even
gut.
though it took me quite a while to finally make this video, those suggestions really came in handy. If you haven't seen it, just go check it out up here. But today, things are getting a little more serious again, because today I want to talk about things that shocked me when I
Right.
first moved to the US.
Here we go.
And I don't mean your typical culture shocks this time, or small, rather amusing things like how giant American onions are, but I actually
Wait,
mean
what?
things that shocked me. Mainly in a negative sense.
Right,
So, disclaimer,
okay.
this is going to be one of those videos where I'll talk about negative aspects of the US for the most part. But,
Okay.
and I wish I didn't have to say this, that doesn't mean that I hate this country. If you watch
Right, this is actually going to be super interesting because we've seen quite a few like culture shock videos where it's like, oh, the bathrooms like doors are really high up or whatnot. This is going to be like, boom, this is a big
my
topic.
channel, you probably agree with me that the world isn't all black and white, and there isn't only unconditional love or pure hatred.
Right, of course.
It's okay to criticize things, even if you like them and care about them, especially if you care about them. And even as an immigrant like myself, someone who wasn't born here and who actually chose to live here, it's okay and even important to look at things critically sometimes. That doesn't mean that I regret my choice to live here. If that were the case, I wouldn't be here anymore. And
True,
one last
true,
thing before
true.
we get into the topic, my Bavarian beer mugs are finally back
my
in
God, they're
stock.
massive.
So if you've been waiting for these to be back, like myself, you can now order them again on felifromgermany.com, and they're also displayed underneath this video. They're perfect for the
That just screams German size beer.
summertime to kind of create a beer
Unless
garden
she's tidy.
atmosphere, but I'll talk about them more at the end of the video. So one thing that all of these points on my list have in common is that I wasn't really aware of them before I came to
Right,
the US.
okay.
Even though we do know quite a lot about the US and Germany and in the rest of the world. So most of the major differences I did know about before moving here, and even though it may have taken me a while to get used to them and understand the culture better, I was, in a way, expecting those things. But there are some things that I either wasn't prepared for at all, or I just didn't think they would be as extreme as they turned out to be. And those are the things that I'll be talking about in this video.
Right,
now,
let's
I
get
actually
into
have
it.
way more than just 3 points on my list.
Yeah, I was going to say 3 points is not much at all. Normally it's like 10 or 25 or whatnot. 3 points, they got to be some big, 3 juicy points.
But this would probably be an hour-long video if I mentioned all of them at once. So I decided to break this list into parts and turn this into a little series
Bro,
with several parts that I'm probably
How many things is shocking her?
going to be spreading out over time so that it doesn't get too depressing all at once. Not all of these things are going to be super dramatic and controversial, but since I've kind of built up the suspense now, let's start with one of the heavier topics, and
Right.
that is drugs.
Aye.
Now, I did know that the US had a bigger drug problem than Germany does.
Right, yeah. I think it's like common knowledge that drugs in US is kind of big. Even from the shows, you always see shows related to drugs about America and stuff. So yeah, but
And terms like opioid crisis had crossed my path before, but to be honest, I didn't really think that it would be a topic that I personally would be in touch with a lot. Well, I was wrong. And shocked. I came to the US in the fall of 2016 for an exchange semester at the University of Cincinnati and was lucky enough to make a lot of American friends pretty quickly and went to a lot of college parties and bars. I was already 20.
Bro, if she tells me that it was taking drugs at the party, please do not tell me that will be the shock. Please, there's drugs at every party.
At the time, which means that I had been legally drinking and partying in Germany for about 6 years at that point.
Right.
Drugs honestly hadn't really been a big part of that for me though. I personally have never even tried any drugs besides marijuana, but I also mean that in my social environment, drugs didn't really play a role.
Right.
And then I go to these college parties here in Cincinnati, and these 18 and 19-year-old girls just casually do cocaine in the bathroom. And
Okay.
it wasn't an isolated incident. This happened at pretty much every party I went to. There was always at least one person that had drugs on them, usually more than one, and in some cases, people would offer me some too, like it was nothing. One time, an American roommate of mine had friends over at our house.
Wait, this really is the shock? Wait, this point, okay, maybe, okay, so she's from Germany, right? Maybe Germany is like drug-free, I don't know. But in the UK, if you go, because obviously I'm going to have my perspective on it, and I'm from United Kingdom. So in the UK, you go to a party, most of the time people are going to be taking drugs. Not most of the time, so like most of the time you're going to have people there taking drugs. I don't take drugs, but I know of so many people that have, so many people who choose it rather than drinking or do it with drinking as well. But there's going to be more, there's going to be a handful of people at every single party, probably even more than a handful of people doing it. So it's not, that wouldn't be that much of a shock to me. I don't know, maybe in Germany is her perspective, maybe that's a crazy shock.
House on a Tuesday night to pregame because there was a college bar that always had Tuesday specials, so that alone was pretty normal, honestly. But the next day, when I asked her why they never left for the bar, because I heard them in the living room all night, she casually responded that they didn't end up going because they ended up taking some acid instead. LSD. On a Tuesday night. In our living room. And I was also pretty surprised / shocked by the amount of people here that smoke weed on a daily basis. Like, not just on the weekends with their friends, but actually smoke every day, often several times a day. Even though I did know people that did that back in Germany, it was pretty rare, and I definitely didn't consider it normal. But here...
Yo, Germany must be the most drug-free country I've ever heard of in my life. Because drugs and weed is everywhere I just thought it was everywhere in every country. You know what I mean? In the UK, maybe UK is more like America in the sense of that then, because in the UK, so many people are smoking weed every single day. So many people are taking drugs at parties and stuff. Like, it's not, I wouldn't go to a party and be like, oh my God, I've just been offered drugs. No way. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like common. It's just normal, right? I've been offered plenty of times. Every time I go out.
Out of all of the friends that I've made here since 2016, I would say that probably about 20% of them regularly smoke weed, and some of my friends have even told me that their health class teachers suggested that while smoking cigarettes will kill you, smoking weed is not as big of a problem. Which,
right,
in my experience, is different from what we're taught in Germany. We're definitely told that cigarettes are bad for you, and cigarette consumption has been going down.
Bro, the sounds of Germany, I ain't gonna lie. What I'm picturing right now, I'm picturing the policemen are like, listen, you have one smoke of marijuana, you're in prison for life. We see you take a drug, you're in prison for life. Bro, this is Germany sounds like the most drug-free country I've ever heard of in my life.
But it's still a pretty normal part of our society. While weed is usually considered more of a gateway drug that will lead you to do harder drugs. So overall, something to stay away from. And I feel
Listen, I don't do drugs. I don't smoke weed either. But I don't know about that point, because I know many people that smoke weed but don't do drugs. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know about that comment right there. I'm not too sure on that. It'd be interesting to see what your guys' opinions are as well.
I feel like that narrative is reflected in everyday life too. Here in the US, I personally know more people that smoke weed than people that smoke cigarettes, and you hardly ever see someone smoke a cigarette on the street.
Right.
While in Europe, in comparison to that, cigarettes are pretty much everywhere still. But
yeah, in the UK, cigarettes is everywhere. but weed is also really common, right? But I'm not gonna lie, I don't know too much about it because I don't smoke cigarettes and I don't smoke weed either. But I'm pretty sure, to my knowledge, weed is safer than cigarettes. So like, let's say I had to choose. I had no option, right? Am I gonna smoke cigarettes or weed? From what I know, I would choose weed, right? Because it seems very, very safer. So I'm not gonna lie, people in America that choose to smoke weed over cigarettes, from what I know, that's good. Other than if it's illegal, then that's bad. If it's illegal, bad. But if it's legal, good, because it just seems safer. But I'm not that knowledgeable on it, so I could be totally wrong. But it'd be interesting to see what you guys have to say.
By the way, I'm not at all trying to tell anyone not to do drugs if they want to, or make any implications about whether or not I think marijuana and other drugs should be legalized. These are just experiences of mine that were new to me. Things that seemed normal here.
Yeah, no one's going to question the fact that drugs are bad. Drugs are bad. Drugs are bad. Like, if we're not talking about weed, just talk about, like, acid or whatever. Like, they are bad. But it's not rare. Do you know what I mean? So many people take it.
That were not normal for me back in Germany. And it doesn't stop with friends who smoke weed or do cocaine on the weekend. Over the last 5 years, I've also heard endless stories about drug overdoses, the opioid epidemic, which are prescription painkillers, and the resulting heroin epidemic here. And those are stories that happen right in front of my eyes, that I hear from friends or the local news. I mean, just take Ben. He's from a rural town in Kentucky, a place that checks all the boxes.
You know what? That would be the big shock to me. Not the fact that like people are taking drugs, but the fact that like people, I don't really hear many overdoses in the UK. Like, it happens, but I don't really hear of it. If it's as common as she's saying it is in America, and I'm hearing it quite often, that would be the shock to me. But that'd be the only shock, really.
To be prone for these kinds of issues. Tons of kids in his town that he grew up with used to get prescriptions for opioids from a local pain clinic and developed an addiction. Once this came out and the clinic was shut down, a lot of them started replacing it with another opioid that they could get on the streets: heroin. In Ben's social circle alone, 6 people who went to high school with him, friends of his, have died from drug overdoses. And even at their school, the drug problem was so big that the police did a canine drug search every other week, and high school athletes had to do weekly drug tests. Now, of course, these are my own personal experiences with the topic. Everyone has different experiences, and it's not like drugs aren't a thing in Germany. Of course, Germany deals with drug problems too, and especially in the EDM scene, party drugs are pretty common. That's just not really my scene. But if you look at the numbers, I think the overall picture is pretty clear. Well, the US just recently reported a record number of over 100,000 drug overdose deaths within 1 year, with about 75% of those caused by opioids. The most recent numbers in Germany from 2020 show about 1,600 drug overdose deaths per year.
Wait, what's the UK? What is the UK? Hold on, I need to know. Drug overdose deaths UK 4.8k. Hey, that kind of... Hey, America is quite a lot then. I was gonna say America has 360 million, UK has around 60. Okay, so America is average more, but like 4.8k, that's still surprising to me. 4.8k in a year in the UK with 60 million people. That's actually quite a lot. I'm not gonna lie. Well, yeah, Germany's quite low. Germany is pretty low.
Year. That's about 30 people per 100,000 residents in the US and about 2 people per 100,000 residents in Germany.
Well,
Overall,
Germany is really
the
low.
area that I'm in is affected by this more than other parts of the US. Ohio and Kentucky are both among the states with the highest numbers of drug overdose deaths in the country. Now, obviously, this is a very complex topic and there's a lot more to this, but I've already been going on for a while, so if you want me to dedicate a whole video just to this and take a deeper look into these numbers and the causes behind them, let me know in the comments and I can make that happen. But for now, let's move on to a topic that's a little lighter, but also shocked me when I came to the US, and that is how expensive groceries are here.
Really?
Now, you might think, wow, big shock. But I just wasn't expecting normal everyday groceries to be that much more expensive than they are in Germany, even though I did know that the overall living expenses are higher in the US. This is something that people from other countries who come to the US might not find shocking at all, but groceries in Germany are actually really cheap, and when you grow up with that, you just kind of take it for granted.
Right.
But then I came to Ohio, and suddenly a one-person shopping trip for about 1 to 2 weeks cost me about $100 to $120 at a regular grocery store like Kroger.
For 2 weeks? That's good. Wait, what? $120 for 2 weeks. That's like £90. That is really good. That is a good price. I ain't gonna wait, how cheap is Germany? Yo, how cheap is...
Well, in Germany, that would maybe be 60 to 70 euros at a regular German supermarket like Rewe or Edeka. I noticed that
for 2 weeks shop. For a 2 week shop, you're telling me it's $60, like £40. £40 in my currency. For a 2 week shop. For two people, I swear, for two people, me and my girlfriend, right? We will do weekly shops that come up to around £120, which is around $120, $140 for a week shop for two people. So let's say one person, obviously you're gonna get similar stuff as well. I mainly eat all the stuff, so I'm not gonna lie. So I would estimate for just me for a week would probably be about £80, which is like $100. So, and that's 1 week. So,
especially with the produce at first, buying a pack of strawberries almost felt like a special treat because it was like $5 or $6 a pack, but this applies to pretty much all food categories.
That's
Fortunately,
strawberry,
German discounter supermarkets like Aldi and Lidl have stores here in the US too, so I usually get the majority of my groceries there now because it's a lot cheaper, but I really don't know a lot of Americans that go to Aldi for their regular shopping.
Right.
Some don't even know about it. So
we have Aldi and Lidl in the UK. I don't go there, but it is quite cheap there. So she does, yeah. Maybe German food is just cheaper.
People get all of their food
it
at
definitely is.
regular price
Definitely
stores.
is.
I was also pretty surprised to find out that low-income people in the US tend to eat a lot at fast food restaurants rather than buying groceries. I mean, it makes sense when you look at the grocery prices, but to me, coming from Germany, it seemed kind of twisted at first that fast food meals at a restaurant were cheaper than buying those ingredients at the supermarket.
That is good. That is good. That means we get fast food. I'm saying we like I'm in America. I'm not in America. But I would love to be there. Listen, if you can have fast food instead of getting groceries and stuff, count me in. That's perfect. Hey, the system's amazing.
And making food at home or getting instant meals. Because in Germany, getting groceries will always be your cheapest option.
Right. That makes sense, though. Groceries, let's be honest, right? I would love to just have I kind of do. I have takeaways a lot. I'd prefer to have a takeaway than have groceries and that, right? But groceries should be cheaper than takeaways. It should. But if it's not, it wouldn't bother me. Because I love my takeaways anyway. Wait, what? Wait, what did it say?
Option.
Circumcision? Huh? Wait, where are we going?
And the last point on my list for today is a little more juicy again. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person who was shocked by this one, because this is something that's just not widely known about the US, and that is that most American men are circumcised.
Oh, really?
I actually made a whole video about this topic before. I'll link that up here and down below. But with the US being a predominantly Christian country, I simply didn't expect that about 80% of American men are circumcised.
Oh,
in most
wow.
cases without any religious motivation. In Germany, it's only about 10% of men that are circumcised, and worldwide,
I wonder what the UK stat is. It would actually be interesting.
it's about 30 to 40%. So the US is way above average here. Now, if you're curious as to why this is such a common practice in the US, I would recommend watching my video on that, but of course only after you're done with this one.
The thing is, though, why is circumcised one of her top 3 shocks? Do you reckon every time she goes down and like she sees it, she goes? Do you reckon she must get shocked a lot? If this isn't her top 3 shocks about the US, she must be like, all right, let's do the deed. Oh my, what the, what is that?
So these were the first 3 points
She
on my
must get
list
really
of
shocked.
things that shocked me when I first came to the US. But as I said, I have a lot more.
Hey Siri, how many people are circumcised in the UK? It's not just going to tell me a stat. 20%. 20% of men in the UK are circumcised. And the US is 80%. She did say 80%.
More on that list, including some more heavy and controversial topics. So stay tuned for part 2 and 3. As always, please share your
Cool video. Let me know your guys' opinions on the topics down below. It'll be interesting to see. You guys always like to bring me up to date, and I trust you guys. I hope you're not telling me false things, because I'm trusting what you guys are saying. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you leave a thumbs up, subscribe for more content. I'm live every single day on twitch.tv/alphabetg. If you guys want to check me out over there, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.